Hi, it's Scott. Rockfile back with another podcast review. Let's talk about the 2024 film, The Substance. This was pretty much top of the list of movies I needed to see before I finished my year-end list, and now that it's picked up 5 Academy Award nominations, I really needed to see this movie. I had pre-ordered it months ago just on the basis of the reviews and everything I knew about the film, and Amazon still, as of Tuesday, its release date on January the 21st, still hadn't shipped it yet, but my Walmart had a bunch of them for the same price, so it was really cheap too. Now Amazon has it for like double the cost, which I don't understand. If you haven't seen the film, this is not everybody's cup of tea. The Substance is a body horror film with a lot to say. It's incredibly well done. It's also incredibly gross. It had about a $17 million budget. It's grossed $76 million. It's become Mubi's highest grossing film. It's picked up all sorts of Academy Award and other Golden Globe nominations, including Demi Moore, who totally deserves a bunch of award nominations. And it's become quite a famous film. It's now available on 4K from Mubi, and it looks fantastic and sounds great. I'll get into the 4K details later on. So I won't get into too many spoilers. This is the story of Elizabeth Sparkle, who is a former Hollywood star who now does an aerobics show, and she's kind of being pushed out because of her age, and they want to find somebody younger. This leads her to try this black market serum she's turned on to create a more perfect younger version of herself, literally. And we get into some body horror, the likes of which David Cronenberg would probably blush at. It's not a horror movie per se, but what happens is horrible. And what Coralie Farget is trying to say is what it means to be a woman. The standards that they're held to, the ideals, the things they have to go through to quote unquote stay beautiful and stay young and all that kind of stuff. All of those themes are in this movie. The movie is also 2 hours and 20 minutes long. I feel that she reached her point multiple times in the film. And that's not to say anything bad about the film. I just think she made her point and then made it again and then made it again. Now, this is career-defining work for the 3 main characters of the film. Demi Moore, never seen her better, never seen her more fearless. I can't even imagine. Well, in a little bit of what I've read about the movie, by the way, on the 4K, there's one extra, about 2.5 minutes of the director talking about how she made the film and why she made the film. But really didn't think Demi Moore was going to do the movie because she would basically have to destroy her image by the end of the film. This is about a woman who, through trying to be a better, younger version of herself, destroys herself. I mean, anyway, that's not giving anything away. You really need to see how this plays out. And the overall themes of the movie, if you are female, you will probably get more out of this film than most males. If you're a fan of body horror films, if like you love The Fly and other David Cronenberg films, Scanners, Videodrome, you name it, this is going to be your cup of tea as well. Not only Demi Moore, but Dennis Quaid, who plays an awful, terrible human. He's a producer of the show. He's fabulous. I mean, it's another one of his best characters ever. And Margaret Qualley, who I've only seen in a few things, fantastic in the movie. She has to play a younger version of Demi Moore and a younger, with everything that goes with that. The film looks fantastic, although, will I say, it's also very much a pretentious art film. And I really hate saying things like that. It makes me sound like some pompous expert on films. But I have been watching art films since the 80s. And I love artsy films. I love going to small theaters in small towns that are showing movies that you can't see anywhere else. Now, these days, with streaming and Blu-ray and 4K and all that, we don't have to do that anymore. But back in the day, that was something we did. And a lot of the movies were over-the-top pretentiousness. Long, slow scenes, close-ups on inanimate objects and things like that you were supposed to glean all this information out of. And Coralie works in that realm very much so through especially the first half of the movie. You get a close-up shot of the shower head. You get a close-up unflattering shot of one of the characters. A lot of close-ups, a lot of things that are done in an artsy way, also done to save budget. Like, there is a scene that is used repeatedly through the movie about a Hollywood star, you know, the Walk of Fame that on the ground. But it's filmed in such a way you know this is inside. so they can treat it, so they can do things with it. It's almost like the movie that just came out with Robert Zemeckis. You know, the camera was fixed in one corner of the house. Well, this is one camera fixed over this over a period of time, but you could tell it's not outside. It was done in a stage, you know. But these are a few things that you would do in a lower budget art house film to save money. It's hard to take a film crew out on Hollywood Boulevard and shoot a scene and fake a Hollywood star. But they've done it in older movies, but it's very expensive. What she did was cost effective and very artsy done. A lot of the movie is very artsy. Not so much so that it's distracting. It's just, it was kind of obvious from somebody who's directed a few things. Her movie Revenge, if you've never seen it, was one of those revenge kind of movies that actually was very, very well done. This is her next thing, so I was kind of looking forward to this. Like I said, all three main characters do an amazing job. The movie looks amazing. The 4K looks amazing, considering it had a fairly low bit rate. Nowhere near what some of my current films, but the movie is the only thing on the disc with this tiny little extra. And so the movie in HDR looks fantastic. Matter of fact, I was reading up on the movie before I did the review. In some of the special effects, they low-res them down to 2K and then brought them back up to 4K to give them kind of softness that they had in reality, because sometimes 4K is just too sharp. So to get into my actual review of the film, I like this movie. It's going to grow on me over time, I'm sure. It's a little pummeling. It's a little hitting you over the head repeatedly with these ideas. I think it is, I mean, especially in the first half of it, I'm totally on board with the mystery of it and the serum and how it works, which we don't get too many details about. There's the MacGuffin of the movie is they have to switch back every 7 days. The newer version of herself and the older version of herself have to switch every 7 days. And if they miss that, it's going to be bad. And it goes bad really quickly. So you're 2/3 of the way through the movie, and they get to an end where this is how the movie is going to end, but the movie continues beyond that. And where it goes is really, I think, the more divisive part of the film, more than some of the special effects and the practical effects, the gore, if you will. It, like I said, it's not people being mutilated. It's a human being mutilated through medical ways. Anyway, I don't want to get into spoilers. The final bit of the film, the last 20, 30 minutes, go so far over the top, it goes into surreal mode. I think that's totally intentional and it was planned. I don't know that it's the way I would have gone. I mean, we get the almost fly level of special effects and then go further. I won't talk about the things that are sprayed on an audience and things like that, but it just goes on and on and on to just really drive this point home. It is so over the top, more so than something like Late Night with the Devil or whatever. It really goes over the top at the end of this film. And the way it ends is a surreal a statement on the whole movie and the character and all that. I mean, I get it. It's really a well-done artsy film. But she goes to some extreme lengths to tell the story. And whether or not you like that is how much you're going to dig the film. I think we have to celebrate a movie like this, that she took some real chances here with the special effects, with the storyline, with the actors and actresses. I mean, Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore, kudos to them, who spend a lot of the movie naked with us oogling their body parts for specific reasons in the movie. It is one of the most asexual sexual films I've ever seen because it's not really erotic. It's not romantic in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of ew from beginning to end. That's the story she tried to tell, and she told it very well. I think maybe a little shorter, maybe not hit us so many times over the head with some of these themes. But other than that, those are the only flaws. The practical effects are jaw-droppingly well done. Hideous, but jaw-droppingly well done. The acting, she pulled performances out of Dennis Quaid and Demi Moore that I didn't even think those actors were capable of. The sound design works great for the movie. Like I said, the 4K looks great, although when I checked it multiple times, it had a lower bit rate, 40 to 50 bit rate. We're getting a lot of Hollywood movies in the 80 to 100 range, but I was shocked at how clean it looked, how clear it looked. It still maintained a filmic presence, but this is an experience, and I posted on my social media. It needs to be watched just for its audacity. You know, is it the best movie of the year? Because it's nominated for Best Picture. No, I don't think so. Is it one of them? Well, yeah, I do think so. I just don't think it's the best movie of the year. I think she did a great job. I think we need to celebrate makeup effects and such that go to this length to produce something that's realistically hideous. Like I said, gets to the point of surreal. Anyway, a fine work here is done. I wish maybe they will release a collector's edition later on that has all the extras, because if you look on Wikipedia and other places, they go into great detail about how the special effects were achieved. At one part, when things start to go bad, Elizabeth, Demi Moore's character, develops an old finger. Just one finger. The rest of her looks perfect. But how they did that and how they pulled it off, they do some close-ups of it in the movie, and it's just like, ooh, yeah, if you were somebody who made a living out of being perfect, that would probably drive you crazy. The 4K looks great. I didn't compare it to the Blu-ray. I didn't have to. It looks great, sounds great. It could have had an Atmos mix. It has a 5.1 mix that's very good. Matter of fact, there's some really, really good stuff that happens behind you and then around you, but not so much above you. I didn't play with you can matrix things out these days and have a surreal fake DTS:X or Atmos. I didn't really do that. I kind of like things purely how they were made. But all in all, this was a good film. It was a little long and a little gory, but I don't mind either of those things. I'm just warning you. And if you give into it, she does have things to say. So kudos to everybody involved. This is one of the better films of the movie. It just might not be one of your favorite films because it's not an easy film to watch. The Substance is available on multiple streaming platforms and, of course, on 4K and Blu-ray, which I would highly suggest. And its price at Walmart was just $24 for the 4K. You can't go wrong. I'm Scott. I'm Rockfile. More podcasts on the way. I've got another brand new movie I'm going to talk about in the next podcast, so stay tuned, and thank you for listening.